Welcome to Mediaspace Members Daily. We bring you exclusive interviews from our leadership group and other professional influencers within the media, marketing, gov tech community globally. Today I have with me Kirsten Levermore, expert business storyteller, neuroscientist, and contributing author of the HR bestseller Excellence in People Analytics. Hi Kirsten, how are you?
Hi Lavina, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's great to have you with us.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me. It's great to speak to your members.
We're excited to hear what you have to say. What are the current challenges for leaders in light of data available in HR?
I think similar to marketing, data governance is going to be a big challenge. Like marketing, HR data needs to be ethically and legally gathered, and then it also needs to be cleaned and standardized across each region and across each department. There's also an extra layer of complexity in that modern HR data has only recently been able to be collected and analyzed. Things like sentiment analysis, metadata we use for Net Promoter Score, and so on. So there's a lot of new technologies for HR to get to grips with, and not a lot of legislation. So that's a new challenge. I think another challenge is convincing HR to actually use data at all. In terms of employees, many HR practitioners chose their career path because they gravitate towards softer skills, people skills, not maths, not data, not technology. So needing to use data analytics is still relatively new to them. If you think back to marketing 20 years ago, that's very much the state of the field right now in terms of attitude towards data. And HR leaders themselves are having to accept that their decisions should be influenced by data, and that could be relatively new as well. And then I think the biggest challenge overall, and I would say this given that lovely intro you just gave me there, is the effect of storytelling. The translation of HR data into action is a massive challenge companies are facing. Corporations are having to build bridges between HR data and the rest of the business. Practically, this involves building a foundation of data translation. Point A means X, but wrapping that up in productization, in internal comms and change management and stakeholder engagement and business consulting. And that's a huge challenge that I think a lot of leaders are going to find themselves investing in, certainly in the next while.
What are the main opportunities for data-driven HR?
Or when done properly. From an HR perspective, they would say employee engagement is a huge opportunity. I mean, LinkedIn Talent Insights last year showed that EX is the top trend affecting how organizations can attract and retain talent. It makes sense, right? I mean, all of us are used to personalized consumer experiences. You switch on your TV and your streaming platform tells you what you should be watching. Now, companies are going to have to start replicating that experience within the team, within employment. Things like individual personalized experiences in well-being, in career progression, in skill development, in productivity. That's going to be a huge opportunity for businesses. I think in terms of something a bit more broad, people data, data-driven HR provides an amazing opportunity in terms of influencing a corporate response to issues in wider society. A couple of examples come to mind, things like COVID-19, daily pulses in a company like Microsoft is being used to assess how employees are feeling about hybrid working, about remote workforce, about returning to the office. I think more long-term, we've got topics like the environment are coming up in people data. One particularly well-known FMCG company, for example, made their key product recyclable in response to HR data that indicated that that was something important to employees. Never mind what the consumer thought, it was important to the employees. Cosmetics is another great example. We're starting to see cosmetics brands accepting the pressure of not just consumers, but of their employees to become cruelty-free. I think another massive opportunity in terms of wider society is also diversity, equity, and inclusion. HR data obviously being now included in annual reports at some of the biggest companies on the planet, but also being used to affect real change. a study that came out recently from Weill Cornell Medicine and the Science of Diversity and Inclusion Initiative and TrustSphere, who are an HR tech vendor. They actually recently examined how HR data was being used to measure homogeneity of gender in teams of surgeons, which could quite literally save lives. So there's an amazing opportunity there as well.
What's your advice for 2022?
Number one, data is useless unless it actually influences a decision. So invest in learning how to translate data into compelling stories that motivate people to action your insights. As we've discussed, I think things like building up skill sets in terms of consulting, business acumen, communication, I think that's going to be a huge thing for the next year. In the same vein, I would also advise that leaders focus on building credibility for HR data. In business terms, that could involve delivering quick wins or quick financial impact in terms of media and how we communicators can help using the skills that we have and the techniques from marketing to build brand recognition and prestige. If you need any inspiration, just look at HR teams in Microsoft, in Trimble Inc., American Eagle Outfitters, Syngenta. They're all using marketing tools such as branding and internal campaigning to tell really meaningful stories that actually engage influential people. And I think the final piece of advice for this year, just specifically for 2022, would be to listen. Listen to the language the audience are speaking. Listen to the problems the audience have. We've had a very, very long period as a society of not having our voices heard. So I think it's important that we all start to listen, and I think let the listening govern the story that we're going to tell, whether it's with data or whether it's just a beautiful story.
Thank you, Kirsten, for joining us and for sharing your knowledge and expertise. Stay tuned for the next episode of Mediaspace Members Daily. In the meantime, connect with us at mediaspace.global.